Grades for the master are going to be all aluminium pedal hanger components and a new stainless steel mudguard that's extra long. The front mudguard on the current machine, the new one will come out to about here. If we drop this down, we can see the join marks here, so that's about the front of where the mudguard will come to. And on the back it's a lot harder to see. It ends really early. I've got this little hook around on here to help, but there is definitely a gap. And we do get a lot of splatter coming up here that I'm not happy with. So this new mudguard, which is a lot longer at the back, should bring it in enough, and it should just kind of rub up against around about here, I suspect. So let's get this pulled apart and install this. At the same time, these are the steel pedal hangers. They're rusting because they're just mild steel, but that's no problem. But I just want a bit of weight reduction and put on the aluminiums. At the same time, I've got these little plastic inserts. That's these little bad boys that are plastic insert, and these things are now metal. On here they're plastic, but I'm going to make them metal. Back furring kit comes off pretty easy. We just have to undo this one bolt, and then we undo the two battery bolts, disconnect the top handle, and remove the bottom two bolts, and remove the bushing. And then this comes out as one piece. Frame design, there is a lot of internal dirt splatter, and you can see that all along here because it's all open to the wheel. And especially the bit that concerns me is all the dirt here. That's why I really want to extend this mudguard out, and let's get my new one and see how that sits. So for positioning, the new mudguard will sit about here, and you can already see that mudguard's a lot longer at the back. And there's this tiny little gap where a lot of dirt can just go straight through here, and that is what's all going up. Long shank screwdriver, easy getting them out. I've taken out mine before, but there is a lot of glue on the top, so it is hard to get out unless you tear it out and deflate the tire. I didn't have to because I'd pulled it apart before. Looking at my measurements, I'm slightly off, but it's good enough. Look at that mudguard size, absolutely humongous. Front, rear. Let's get these tabs bent. My material thickness is half. Kind of wish I went a bit thicker, but it'll help with weight saving. Advice, just to get a little kink on it. I don't need this one because of the way it's set up, you can't use it. It's looking a lot more like a mudguard now. Let's drop it on this beast. So it just slips and slides in, and I can just push it underneath that. Rocks down, so that hole aligns. There's a bit of tolerance in here, so I'll have to figure that out, but that's okay. The mudguard comes all the way up to here, and it's got a bit of spring to it, so I think that'll be okay. I might have to add an extra bend here so it goes straight and then across. It's so flexible, so easy to do. This model really thin, so I can get the long flat straight and then just a little taper at each end. Well, I can absolutely say that worked a charm. We got that screw down the end. The left side doesn't have one due to the frame mounting, but it's super flimsy. And looking at the back side, we got our screw in here and our one in here. And looking at the shape, it comes across here and across. And then as this linkage moves, it moves up this way. So that looks good. I think that'll help a lot. Steel hangers are absolutely rock solid, no movement. They are holding up perfectly, no signs of deformation, just a tiny bit of surface rust. So time to put the aluminium boys on and the new battery hangers because I stuffed this one up. And on the steel hanger, it does look great. This is the weakest part that I think, with the plastic surround. The plastic is just a guide to hold it in an approximate position. Looking at this thing's taking a bit of a beating. Not much so, only from how it slides in here, but everything's pretty good. I do have a plastic support, so let's take this off and rebuild this in alloy. Steel, alloy, and bang, it's done. Piece of engineering. Pole goes through here, this gets clamped up, all in aluminium. Wow, absolutely, I'm very proud of this design. Well, let's get this installed on the beast. The plastic insert here is going to be a huge improvement. It's pretty tight, I'm going to have to hammer that in just to give it a bit of support. Yeah, that's looking really good in there now. Let's drop this straight on top. Install to get this in, we tighten up the middle one, just firm but loose, and then all the other ones firm but loose. Everything's loose at the moment, and we can squeeze everything in place, get everything aligned, and then slowly tighten them all evenly to get that perfect alignment. But yeah, that's in there now. I'm liking it. Just got to tighten everything. You can see our little magic dust that comes out as we tighten it up for the first time. Do a little bit of a tighten, push it back across again, take off this side, pull this across to here, because this keeps the everything in alignment. And then we can tighten this one a little bit, this one a little bit, and we just repeat the process until we're happy with our tautness. At a time, and so the rod can slide through. It is tight, but it needs to be able to slide, otherwise you can't get your pedal on. But I'm happy with that. Just can attach the battery now and attach the rest of these little pins. Oh, that's the wrong way. I think it goes that way. It is a bit of a puzzle. Like about the design, this pin here goes all the way through, and that's kind of like what you hang off, because that hangs off here. And it is threaded into this one, but it doesn't really need to be. And it can't come out because it's restricted by that pin. It's a pain in the ass to tighten if you need to tighten it, but it doesn't matter if it comes loose because it's held in. It's a bit of a safety backup feature. This is pretty tight now. I might just drill it out. Didn't need to drill it, pedal just bolted straight in. It's nice and tight. It is rubbing on here a little bit, but that's okay. Gives the pedals a bit of stiffness. Perfect. Let's do the other side. But I am going slightly lower on the hanger. Doesn't matter. Cool. We have the hangers on and installed. They're looking good. I'm not sure about this piece being metal because it does change the thicknesses of everything and it doesn't allow it to be crushed by the plate. So I do get a little bit of swivel wobble. I am going to leave it and see how I go, but it's an easy change. I definitely like the insert caps and the free bolts on the inside. That work out well. Definitely have a lot of clearance. But apart from that, got our mudguard in. Just a little bit thin, the material. Other than that, it's pretty good. And I am going to widen it up a little bit. You can't really see, but I'm going to make it the full width of the 90mm stanchion because my motor, the batteries sit wide in line with that, so it can be slightly wider. Because when you look at it from the top, when you look down, you can just see that tire in there on both sides, and that's not so good.